Beloved, imagine for a moment the deepest pain you've ever felt, the kind of pain that grips your soul, leaving you breathless, trembling, questioning everything you thought you knew about love and life. Now, picture that pain magnified, as the one you hold most dear fights for their life, and you are left with nothing but faith. What if I told you that in the midst of this agony, there is a hope, a strength, a love that can transform even the darkest hour? What if I revealed to you that God's promises are not only for the calm moments, but for the storms, for the battles, for the moments when everything seems lost? This is not just another message. This is a call to the broken-hearted, to those who feel as though their world has crumbled, because in the depth of your struggle, there is a divine restoration waiting for you. Stay with me, because this story is not just about survival, it's about the power of faith, the unshakable strength of love, and the promise that no matter how deep the darkness, the light of God's presence will always guide you through. You are not alone. And today, we find hope together. Let's begin. The world is silent, and yet it feels as if it's spinning out of control. My heart aches with every breath I take. I stand there, looking at the one I love, the one whose soul I've nurtured and cherished, lying lifeless in front of me. The person you love deeply is fighting for their life, and in that moment, it feels as if the world itself has turned against you. Everyone else, the ones who've been around, the ones who've watched, all whispering their cold truths. They know something I don't want to face. They know what has happened. But I don't want to believe it. I don't want to accept it. The harsh reality stings like 1,000 thorns in my chest as I remember the night before, the night everything changed. It was supposed to be a simple gathering, a night of laughter, of shared meals and conversation. But as the evening wore on, a chill seemed to settle over the room. What once felt like a home full of warmth began to feel like a place where shadows danced, and I couldn't see what was coming. And now, in this moment, the poison that has seeped into the very soul of my beloved is a cruel reminder of the danger that lurks where we least expect it. You might wonder, why did it happen? How could it happen? I too ask myself these same questions, my spirit struggling to understand why betrayal has taken root so close to my heart. How could someone poison the one they claim to love, someone they promised to protect, to cherish? The answer comes in fragments, shards of regret, unspoken anger, jealousy, or a desire for control. Yet none of it brings me peace. None of it brings me answers. As I stand here, my hands trembling, the weight of the truth pressing upon me, I hear the quiet voice of God within me. His words, soft yet strong, fill the air, and in them, I find a strange comfort, though the storm inside me rages on. Child, he says, you are not alone. I see your pain, your confusion, your hurt. I know the depth of your heart, and I understand the torment you feel. But I am here, even in the darkest of moments. You are not forgotten. I walk with you through the storm. I can't see it yet, but I can feel His presence, a steady hand on my shoulder, a balm for my wounded soul. And even though I don't know how to fix this, how to undo what has been done, I know that in this moment, God is with me. Faith, he continues, is not always easy. It is not the absence of pain or suffering, but the strength to stand despite it. You are not defined by what has been done to you, but by how you rise from it. Your journey has just begun, and you must walk it with courage, for I will lead you, step by step. With these words, a flicker of hope rises within me, though it is small and fragile. I feel the weight of the situation more acutely than ever, but I also feel a flicker of something else, strength. A strength that comes not from me, but from God, who is reminding me that this is not the end. Even in this moment, when it feels like everything has shattered, I am not broken beyond repair. There is healing, even for this wound. Do not lose hope, my child, he says. For I will turn your mourning into joy. Trust in me, and I will show you a way out of the darkness. Your heart will heal, and your loved one, though their journey may be long, will know my mercy. And so, as I kneel beside the one I love, my heart still heavy with grief, I whisper a prayer into the silence. God, guide me. Heal us. Help us to rise above this, and give us the strength to face whatever comes next. For I know that though the road ahead is uncertain, the God I trust will lead us through it. And somehow, we will find our way back to the light. The hours stretch on, an eternity of waiting, of watching, as the one I love remains motionless, their life slipping away piece by piece. The poison courses through their veins, and I can feel it in my own heart, as if I too am being drained of all strength. I hold their hand, my tears falling softly onto their skin, and I hear the whispers of the world around me, the doubts, the fears, the accusations, but amidst it all, I hear the still, quiet voice of God again, more clearly now, more intimately. Child, do not let the world's voice drown out mine. They may see the surface, but I see your heart. You are not defined by the actions of others, nor by the pain that has been inflicted upon you. In my eyes, you are whole, you are beloved, and I will never leave you, even in the moments that feel most alone. In the midst of my agony, these words breathe life into my soul. The heaviness I carry doesn't disappear, but I feel the weight begin to shift, just a little. In the silence that surrounds me, I hear God's voice like a steady pulse, grounding me, reminding me of the strength I don't feel in this moment. His love for me is constant, unchanging, unwavering. He isn't asking me to fix what is broken on my own. No, He is asking me to trust, to lean into Him when the world falls apart, when the storm rages, and when I feel like I am sinking beneath the waves. And then, I remember, faith is not the absence of suffering, but the trust that God is present in the suffering. I think back to the moments before all of this. Before the poison, before the pain, before the darkness. How often I have taken my loved ones for granted, how often I have let the chaos of the world distract me from the preciousness of the moments we share. But now, as I hold their hand, I understand the depth of love more than ever. It is in moments like this, when life is fragile, when everything we hold dear seems to be slipping away, that we realize just how precious life truly is. God reminds me that His love is more powerful than any poison, more enduring than any hurt. In these desperate moments, He is here, His presence surrounding us like a protective shield. Even though the pain is overwhelming, He promises that there is purpose in our suffering. We may not see it now, but He is working. Healing is not always instantaneous, but his healing is always certain. He whispers that though my loved one may not be able to fight on their own right now, I can be their strength. I can carry them in prayer, in faith, in love, until they can rise again. And this is where my strength comes from, not from my own will, but from God's will, and the divine guidance He offers when we surrender to Him. I begin to understand that this moment of crisis, this moment of pain, is not just a test of endurance. It is a call to action, a reminder that in times of greatest darkness, the light of God can shine the brightest. As I pray, I ask for wisdom. Not just to heal my beloved, but to understand the deeper meaning of this trial. What is God teaching me in this pain? What is He shaping in my spirit? With each prayer, with each tear, I feel the faintest stirring within me, a sense that this is not just a battle for survival, but a battle for restoration, for reconciliation, for the strengthening of both body and soul. Trust in me, God says again, His voice a balm for my soul. Though you do not see the full picture, I am weaving together your story. Every moment of pain, every tear you shed, is part of a greater tapestry that I have already set in motion. Trust in my plan, even when you cannot understand it. And as I surrender to His will, I feel a peace settling in my heart, peace that I do not deserve, peace that does not make sense in the face of such despair, but peace that is there nonetheless. It is a peace that passes understanding. I know that whatever happens next, my trust in God will carry me through. I will not walk this road alone. He reminds me that love is not just an emotion, but an act of faith. It's in the hardest moments that love reveals its truest form, through sacrifice, through perseverance, through unwavering belief in the possibility of restoration. It is not a love that gives up in the face of hardship. It is a love that fights, that stands firm, that remains present even in the darkest hours. And so, I hold my loved one's hand tighter, my prayers more fervent now, knowing that with every moment, God is working. I don't know how this story will end, but I trust that God will guide us through, no matter the outcome. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Even in this, I am working. And I will bring beauty from the ashes. And with those words, I hold on to the hope that one day, the storm will pass, the poison will lose its power, and my beloved will rise once more, restored in body, mind, and spirit. Until that moment comes, I will continue to trust, continue to hope, and continue to believe. For in Him, there is always a way through. Always. As I stand at the edge of this seemingly insurmountable darkness, the weight of my loved one's fragile life pressing down on me, I am filled with a truth so profound that it shakes me to my core. God's plans are beyond my understanding, but they are always good. This moment, the one where everything seems to be slipping away, is not the end of the story. I can feel it now. God is working in ways I cannot see, moving pieces I don't yet understand. It's in this place of brokenness that God is doing something so deep, something I may not fully grasp until much later. I remember the words He whispered to me, the ones that began to shift my perspective. I am weaving together your story. Every tear you shed, every moment of heartache, is part of a divine tapestry. Do not rush to end this chapter too soon, for you are not alone in your suffering. In the depths of pain, I realize that God's presence has never been more tangible. It is as though the weight of the world has been lifted off my shoulders, not because the burden has gone away, but because I have learned to trust that the one who holds the world in his hands can also hold me. The night drags on, and the world outside may remain unaware of the battle being fought in this small room, but I am beginning to see something I couldn't see before: the divine nature of love. Love does not flee in times of trouble. It does not abandon or run away when faced with the deepest wounds. True love remains, stays close, and fights with every ounce of its strength. It is in the darkest nights that love becomes the light we need to see the way forward. And I think of God's love for us, His love that was willing to be poured out on the cross, His love that did not retreat in the face of suffering, but embraced it. He knew that only through the greatest pain would there be ultimate healing. So too, do I feel that in this pain, God is working. He is refining us, shaping us, purifying us. It may not make sense now, but I trust that what is happening here, what is happening in this moment, is part of His eternal plan. I continue to sit in silence, my hands still holding theirs, my heart still broken, yet strangely hopeful. I remind myself, God will not waste this moment. Even in my darkest hours, He is doing something miraculous. As I pray, I sense that I am being called to something more. I am not meant to merely sit by and wait. This is not just a waiting room of despair, it is a place of transformation. God is asking me to rise above my grief, to fight in the spiritual realm with prayer, to declare over my loved one's life the truth of His promises. And so, with trembling hands and a heart filled with faith, I lift up my prayer. God, I trust that You are the healer. You are the restorer. You are the one who brings life where there was death. I stand firm in Your word, declaring that my beloved will live and not die. I declare that Your healing power is greater than any poison, any sickness, any wound. Your love is stronger than all the forces of darkness that seek to destroy. I claim restoration, peace, and hope in the name of Jesus Christ. You have already won the victory. And I stand with You, believing for the breakthrough. Even as I pray, I know that my words are not just wishes or empty hopes. They are declarations of faith. Faith that God will act. Faith that God hears every prayer. Faith that He is already working, even when it feels as if nothing is changing. And with each word I speak, I sense the weight of God's presence more deeply. The battle is not mine to fight alone. He is here, with me, in this moment. This is His fight too. His love is the weapon, His power the shield. And even if the night is long, I know that morning is coming. Healing is on its way. Do not fear, my child, God says again, His voice soft yet unshakable. Even when you cannot see my hand, know that I am working in the unseen. The victory has already been won. You are not abandoned in this. I will see you through. I take a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace wash over me, though the storm still rages. The pain is not gone, but there is something greater now: hope. Hope that God will bring restoration, not just for my loved one, but for myself as well. This is a journey of faith, a journey of love. It is a journey where God is teaching me to trust, not in my own understanding, but in His infinite wisdom. And as I look at my beloved once more, I speak the words that carry the deepest truth of all: you are not alone. God is with you. We will fight this together. I don't know when the healing will come, but I know it will. God has promised that He will restore what is broken. He will turn mourning into dancing, sorrow into joy. And in this waiting, I will continue to stand firm, continue to trust, and continue to pray, believing that every moment of pain is leading to something greater. For God's love is not only what sustains us, it is what transforms us.